Hey, good morning, good afternoon, partners. Thanks for joining the second session of the training series this week. Let me know if you all have any problem listening to my voice.
We can hear you well, Alex.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm just gonna give another 1 minute for all the partners to be able to join in. We have over 400 registrations again this week. Was fantastic, fantastic feedback. And once we got over 150, I think we can start the session. Okay, we have 10 more to go. Maybe I'm over ambitious. Okay, so we'll let the rest join in as they come in. So let me start the session so that we don't necessarily delay the time. Again, good morning, good afternoon. My name is Alex. I'm Director for Partner Pre-Sales and also Partner Development in APAC. So again, welcome to the series of partner enablement training on what we call these fantastic Thursdays, a good 1.5 to 2 hours of time that you have committed, and we hope to be able to provide you good insight into a number of good products and offering that we have announced, and we are launching some of these very soon. So this week we have the UiPath Insights session, which will be primarily led by Smith Rathore. I will introduce the trainers and also the panelists shortly. But you can see here we have completed document understanding last week, and what we plan to do in the following series is that we will typically have 1.5 hours dedicated to the main topic for the week. And if there is a homework, such as the document understanding series last week, we would also allocate another 30 minutes. So for those of you who have joined our document understanding training last week, you may stay behind to review that homework. Okay, so that's the approach we are taking. And if you haven't got a chance to register for the rest of the training, please do so. I have got the link here, which I will also share after this session. Okay, so for today, I have Michael and Smith, our partner technical development manager based in ANZ. So they'll be our lead trainers essentially for this series of training. But we will invite different SMEs on the particular topic. So this week I have Matt, and Nopakit, and also Sajal, who have kindly volunteered to be our panelists. All right, and then some quick housekeeping again. So remember, you can see a chat box, you can see a Q&A box, right? So, but please make sure if you have questions, enter into the Q&A box. We will address the questions as we go along. The panelists will be working on that. And when we see a number of good questions, we probably will pause as well to kind of review those for the benefit of everyone. If in case we run out of time, we can't actually address your questions, we also try to follow up, and I will consolidate all of these answers in a Q&A that I will also forward to all the attendees. Okay. Now, if your colleagues that are not able to join today's session, don't worry, this will be recorded. And again, make sure that you have registered or your colleague has registered with the partner company email ID, so that I'm able to forward the recording to them. Okay. So this week for UiPath Insights, there is not going to be any homework exercise post-training. So I encourage all of you to please pay good attention to the training that we delivered by Smith and Mike. All right, so with that, I will hand over to Smith to start.
All right, thanks, Alex, and good morning and good afternoon, everybody. And yeah, today we would be going over the Insights product. Before I move on, so Alex, could you just confirm if you're able to hear me okay? And also, you are able to see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, and it has a dashboard right now on that screen, right?
That's right, green and yellow.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Okay, let me get on to the presentation mode and start. So, so in the automation first era, the success of RPA implementations can't be measured by the operational KPIs alone. And to demonstrate its true value, RPA needs to show its impact on the business. And hence, we've got the UiPath Insights offering, which is a powerful embedded analytics tool that helps you measure, report, and align RPA operations with strategic business outcome. And I'm very happy to introduce this topic to you today. Okay, so a little bit about the agenda. So today we would be going through to the product overview, where I would just explain some of the business outcomes that you're after, and why this product, and how to measure those KPIs. And then we'll get on to the architecture. We'll discuss how this product is architected, and then we will look at the deployment models and its availability in the market. And then I will basically look into the insights and the Elastic Stack, especially the Kibana, which used to be the Insights product, or at least a partner product that customers could have used. We will then look at the infrastructure requirement and how you can do the installations. And then we will look into the roles and permissions that come with installing the Insights product, and then we'll get onto the demo mode and the product walkthrough. So I will basically walk through from the perspective of the Insights viewer and from the perspective of Insights designer, and in between that I'll show you multiple features and functionalities that this tool has to offer. And then we will look into the data model as to what's the engine of the data that's driving all those KPIs, and then we'll discuss some pricing model, and then we'll get on to the question and answer mode. Okay, so with that, let me start with this one and tell you something about why measuring the ROI holistically is important. So in most of the RPA deployment, there is a range of stakeholders. So they are often cross-functional in nature. So this team draws from IT and the RPA operations and from around the company. So this diverse set of stakeholders come with an equally diverse set of challenges, and each with their own methods of measuring and calculating the true impact of their implementation what I mean by that is the RPA implementation. So it is important that you can measure both RPA operational performance, including robots utilization and accuracy, in addition to business outcomes that the business teams feel are most valued, so which includes like process health and productivity gain. So let's just focus a little bit more on why is it important to measure RPA. So you must have heard of businesses that have used robotic process automation to save tens of thousands of hours, to eliminate data entry errors completely, and free hundreds of employees from repetitive manual labor. And bringing these savings and productivity gains to your business could be transformative. However, demonstrating the true potential of RPA requires the ability to measure your deployment and predict its expansion. So without RPA performance metrics or KPIs, it's difficult to demonstrate those benefits to the RPA stakeholders. But with the RPA performance metrics in place, you can demonstrate where RPA has most impact, plans for the future iteration, and track your return on investment. Okay, so how you can do that? So you can do that easily in 3 steps. So you start by tracking and measuring your operational metrics first, which is like where the robots are erroring, what's the utilization for those robots, what's the success rate, and then you tie these operational results to business outcome, which is ROI and process outcomes, and we will discuss more on this later when I'll actually show you the dashboards. And then finally, measure each performance metrics every month and then total them for each year, so you can get a comprehensive understanding of pace and scale. Okay, so but remember that every metric that you track should answer a question you have, whether it is an operational ask or a business ask. So moving on, when we do bring in these 2 perspectives together, so the RPA operations ask and the business ask, it enables our customers to not just measure but optimize their scale of deployments. So and hence the UiPath Insights product. So what is it? So Insight is a UiPath analytics solution. It provides analytics capability by using the combination of available business and operations metrics. It is accessible from within the orchestrator and allows you to build customized views specific to your needs and priorities. It also comes with 4 out-of-the-box dashboards, and we will look into those dashboards later in today's session, and that will give you those perspectives, and that will answer some of the operational asks and the business ask. So UiPath overall is created to help you measure your RPA deployments, optimize your RPA processes, and then scale your RPA implementations. Now, so a little bit more about the Insights. So Insights is easily launched from Orchestrator. It enables users to manage and measure their automations from single user interface. With Insights, you can measure everything from errors to ROI of a process. It's fully customizable to align with how your business measures success and value, and each of the dashboards which are available can be easily shared and with multiple stakeholders at a given point in time, and they all can take a collective decision. Okay, so that's that. Let's move on. In terms of some of the key features of the Insights tool, so let me go through each one of them. So first one is the simple setup. So you can deploy, launch, and use within the existing orchestrator interface. So no complex setup or integrations are required. Then you have got smart alerts. With that, you can receive email notifications so that you can respond quickly to any anomalies or critical events and major milestones. All right. And then you've got dynamic dashboards, and these are drag and drop libraries of dashboards, very interactive in nature. You can easily create them, publish them publish them for your workforce. Then we've got integrated machine learning and forecasting algorithms built into the tool, and you can utilize these machine learning models to forecast critical KPIs, including robot utilization and process bottlenecks. And then we have got the historical trends, so you can create a timeline of your historical data. So right now, if you were to look at the historical data, only 24 hours worth of history is available within the orchestrator from the monitoring section. But if you want to look at a trend or do an analysis for an year's worth of data, that's something which is not available right now, and this tool allows you to do that. And then finally, any modern day tool that is there, and if it's an analytics tool, it has to have the capability of being able to share those dashboards and share those reports. You should have the functionality to schedule it and send it to a group of user or a particular user and whatnot. So this tool allows you to do that as well easily. Okay. Now, who is it for? So Insights is an end-to-end analytics solution for users across the organization. So from business users, which may include analysts, process SMEs, business owners, and your executive leadership that needs to define, track, measure, and share KPIs and the business outcomes. And then you can also have RPA COE, which will consist of COE leads, RPA developers, solution architects, business analysts, and RPA admin, and they will have an interest in the holistic view of their RPA deployments. Okay, so different stakeholders will have different objectives with regard to tracking and measuring RPA. Thus, by building insights, we take into account the goals, needs, and tools required by each of these strategic persona throughout the RPA journey. So, for example, like business executives here, their goal is to empower organization-wide decision-making, for which they need visibility into high-level statuses and milestones, so that they can look for a functionality using which they can easily share dashboard in a consistent manner and have a look at the organizational KPI in a much more consistent way. Okay, so that's that. So now let's just switch some gears and get into some of the technical details of it. But before I move on to that, let me stop and see if there are any questions. So, Michael, are there any questions for me to take, or do you want me to move forward?
Yeah, there are a couple of questions. One is from Sudeep. What is the forecasting technique used? I think Sajid may have answered that. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, sure. So for forecasting, obviously I'm going to show you that, but yeah, linear forecasting, logarithmic, exponential forecasting, these are available out of the box. Okay.
Okay, thanks. And one more question, maybe you'll go into it later about the licensing. Any additional licensing requirement to access reports?
Yes, there is a licensing requirement, and when we get to the pricing model, we will discuss that. Okay.
Okay.
So,
and sorry, one more that just came in.
Yeah.
Is this available for community version user?
Not at the moment, and I will go through that as well in my future slides.
Okay, thanks. That's
Okay. All right. So let's just look at the architecture map. So as you know, most of the data in an RPA operations is generated at three levels. So the first is robots create data, and this is the digital data they are creating in the form of logs. You will have some sort of business data available in the queues, which will be available in the orchestrator queue. And the third place is you will run the jobs against a process, and that will create some form of events. Okay, so on the bottom left-hand side, robots, they, as you know, within UiPath architecture, you can configure an nlog target, and this nlog target could be an Elastic Stack or a Cosmos DB or a SQL DB or Splunk. So once you've configured that nlog target, all the robots will start to send their logs. And the insights piece has a log ingestion engine, and what that does is it listens to those logs. So as logs are coming in, it basically takes those logs and puts it inside the Insights DB. So this Insights DB on the orange is a new Microsoft SQL DB that you need to create, and it is separate to the orchestrator SQL DB. Okay. So that's the path for robots to nlog to the log ingestion engine, and that's how the robots log get into the database. And similarly, for queues and jobs and processes, we've got an event ingestion engine, and what that does is it basically polls through to the data, and any new data that comes in, that goes into the Insights SQL DB. Using the Insights SQL DB, what happens is we have got Insights Server, and what Insights Server does is that it creates an Insights cube. Okay, so if you're not familiar with a lot of BI tools, then let me tell you, a cube is a data structure that is optimized for any analytical processing, for any data slicing, or for any data dicing that you do. So these are like multi-dimensional data structures rather than a table, which is a two-dimensional structure where you have the rows and the columns. So cube. So from the Insights database, we create the Insights cube, and that is the one which we use to create the KPIs, which we would use to create the dashboards and the widgets. And those dashboards and widgets are basically rendered to the user using the Insights UI piece, and that Insights UI piece, as you can tell, sits inside the orchestrator UI. Okay, so all your user experience sits inside the orchestrator UI all the time. Okay, so user don't have to go to a third-party application to just get to the Insights piece. Yeah, so that is about the architecture. Now, let's get on to the deployment and the availability. So Insights is available starting 2019.10. So in fact, this was announced last year in our Forward 3 event, and that's when we announced the 2019.10 release. Specifically, you are looking at 2019.10.16 version of Insights, and that's where we fully integrated with the orchestrator. Insights, and like there was a question before, Insights is not available as part of the community edition just yet, but we are working on that piece. And currently, Insights is only available to the customers with on-premise deployment, or in other words, it's not available for cloud deployments, and hence it's not available on our cloud community, okay, which is platform.uipath.com. And when you install Insights, then you need to enable it for a given tenant. So if you've got 5 tenants like sales, marketing, HR, finance, and corporate, then if you do want to provide analytics services or insights services, then you need to enable the Insights feature per tenant in the orchestrator. Okay. Again, Insights, because it's an on-premise product, so customer data always remains on-premise, and none of your data travels to the UiPath cloud or any other cloud services for that matter. Okay. Again, from the database perspective, Insights data is stored on a separate SQL database, and that is separate from Orchestrator database altogether. So when you install it, there would be a new Insights database that will be installed. Okay. So again, because it's an analytical tool, so it doesn't work with live data, it works with the historical data. So if you have a requirement for looking into the live data, then I highly recommend you to look into the monitoring feature rather than the Insights feature. Okay. Now, let's just move on. So let's just say you want to trial this Insights, then all you have to do is go to the website called www.uipath.com/start-trial, and you will get onto this kind of screen. And please remember, in that you need to actually try the enterprise server, which comes with 1 license of Orchestrator and 1 license of Insights. And this should be good for 60 days. However, if you want to use it beyond 60 days, then I recommend you to get in touch with your partner managers, and partner managers will be able to help you out from the extending of the trial period. Okay. Yeah, so that is about trialing. Let's move on. Okay. This is a common question that I get from our partners and our customers, and that is about Insights and the Elasticsearch. So as you know, before UiPath Insights, Kibana dashboards, which is a part of Elastic Stack, were the gold standard for getting the insights from the robot logs. However, let me tell you that Kibana does not replace UiPath Insights. They are actually complementary product and specialized differently. UiPath Insights has a different role in the COE and amongst the business users, while the Elastic Stack is commonly used for governance scenarios and IT infrastructure and monitoring. Okay, in a sense that UiPath Insights deliver business and operational automation analytics to benchmark performance over time, versus Elastic Stack delivers long-term storage and analysis of the logs and technical robot performance for IT governance. And yeah, so one other difference is, for Kibana, you have to move out of the orchestrator, and you have to have that technical knowledge available if you do want to use Kibana for any practical purposes. Plus, what happens is a lot of data remains in queues and the processes, and for you to be able to visualize that kind of data, you need to have the robots that write the logs, and that's the only way to look into Kibana, versus because it's directly, versus because Insights is directly integrated with the orchestrator, you get all of that data then and there. Okay, and yeah, I hope that clears some of the questions, because this is one of the most commonly asked questions as far as Insights is concerned. All right, let's just move on and look into the infrastructure and installation. Okay, so let me open this website. Just a sec. Okay, so for installation, for any documentation needs, I highly recommend you to go through the docs.uipath.com website, because that's the source of truth. Even if you go via the UiPath support for any support tickets, they are going to point you in this direction, because all the information is latest, and yeah, you will find the detailed instructions. So the most important thing here is hardware and the software requirements. And even before I discuss the hardware requirements, read this first line, that Insights must be installed on its own separate machine, which is separate to the orchestrator. Otherwise, it's not supported. And I have made that mistake like 3-4 months back, where I tried to install everything on my laptop, and it didn't work out very well. Okay, you will not get support if you've got orchestrator as well as the Insights installed on the same machine. Okay. So there is some sort of hardware requirement consideration as well when you install the trial version for yourself, because you would need one machine where the orchestrator is installed and a second machine where the Insights is installed. Okay. Now, the deployment size is dependent upon the scale of your RPA operations. So if you have like small scale, like less than 1 million rows in the logs, then you are essentially looking at 4 CPUs and up to 24 GBs of RAM size, and you're looking at somewhere around 50 GBs of hard disk space for you to store all of that data. Okay, for a medium scale, which is 1 million to 20 million rows, you're essentially looking at 8 CPUs and 32 GB of RAM. For large scale, which is 20 million rows to 150 million rows, you're looking at 16 cores, 64 GBs of RAM size, and around 320 GBs of hard disk space. And for any extra large implementations, you're essentially looking at 16 cores, 192 GB, and 720 GBs of hard disk space. Along with that, you have an upper cap on the number of processes or the number of queues with custom fields that are present in the Insights. So for all the tenants which have the Insights enabled, you can, in a small scale, you should have less than 100 processes or queues, and for a fairly large implementation, you should have like less than 1,000 processes and queues. This is for all the tenants where the Insights is enabled. However, for per tenant in a large scale implementation, you're looking at less than 250 processes and queue. Let's just say you have a requirement to go beyond 250 processes and queues, then you are looking at table grouping. So internally what happens is, as soon as you publish a new process or create a new queue, inside the Insights database, a new table gets created, okay? And over a period of time, when you move beyond like 250 tables, then it starts to negatively impact the performance of the Insights server, okay? And because that is happening, we recommend that you do the table grouping, and what it means is do not create a new table every time you create a new queue, okay? And you can group some of the tables together and hence optimize the performance, okay? So that's about the performance. However, because Insights and Orchestrator, they are two separate machines and two separate database, the performance impact on one does not affect the other. So if your analytics engine is running a little bit slow because of certain reasons, doesn't mean your Orchestrator also becomes slow, because architecturally they are two different infrastructure and two different pieces of software. Okay.
Right. So just to add to Smit's point over here is we need to consider what is mission critical and what is not. So while we are deploying Insights, we need to understand that the orchestrator components are mission critical components, and Insights is not a mission critical component, and it is heavy on compute. So whatever we do on the Insights configuration side, it has been architecturally taken care of the fact that it does not load up the orchestrator components and the orchestrator DB in any ways. So that's what has been our primary focus in getting the data segregation and the data ingestion streamlined out.
Yeah. Thanks, Sajal, for this. And now, because we're not going to show you how the installation works, I have got a webinar here, which is where we have officially shown how you can install and what are some of the considerations. So I highly recommend you to go through this web page and go through to this webinar, and we will discuss the infrastructure and the installation there in detail. Okay, and obviously we are going to share this material to all the participants at the end of this webinar. Okay, now let me quickly move on and get into a little bit more details about the Insights roles and permissions. So you're essentially looking at two roles that are there in the Insights. The first one is the viewer role, and the second one is the designer role. Firstly, looking at the viewer role, what you can do is you can access the Insights page on the Orchestrator. You can view all the out-of-the-box dashboards that UiPath provides, and you can also look at the dashboards which have been shared with you by others. Okay, you can interact with the widgets and apply any filters if the moderator has allowed you to do that, and then you can download dashboards as PDF or as an image. Okay, what you cannot do is obviously create, edit, or delete the dashboards and widgets, because that's the role that designer has. You cannot access the Insights portal, and I want to emphasize that Insights page on Orchestrator and Insights portal, they are two different things. Okay. Also, what you can't configure is configure the alerts. So who is this for, the viewer permissions? It is for the non-technical users and users that only need a high-level view on the data. So your management roles or the person who's like the process person. Okay. Now, the designer role, on the other hand, obviously it allows you to edit, create, and delete dashboards. It allows you to access the Insights portal, which is a website in itself, and it allows you to configure the alerts. What you can't do with this permission is grant other users access to Insights feature or change their permission type. You can still share the dashboard, but you cannot grant people access to have access to the Insights, because that is something that the Orchestrator admin has to do. Okay, you cannot install or uninstall insights from Orchestrator. Again, that is the task reserved for Orchestrator admins. Okay, so who is it for? This permission is for data analysts, business intelligence specialists, RPA developers, or business analysts. Okay. With that expectations on role and permissions set, let's just get on to the demo mode and let me walk you through the product. The structure that I've given to that is, firstly, I will show you from the viewer's perspective, and secondly, I will show you from the designer's perspective. So first we'll interact and see what are the default dashboards available, and then we will interact, and then we'll get into the designer mode. Okay, so let's just get our hands dirty and let's just get onto it. So that's that, and that's that. Okay, so this is one of my Orchestrator, and I hope data is preserved there. So what happens once you log in is, you see within the Orchestrator, you've got the insights piece, okay? And as an insights piece, this is the insights page that I was talking to you, everybody. And you can see the out-of-the-box dashboards which UiPath has provided are available here. At the bottom, you would see the person who's the creator of these dashboards, and this view is the grid view. Okay, not much more you can do with it. Let's just look into the individual tiles and see what we can do. On the individual dashboards, I can download the dashboard as an image, or I can download it as a PDF. Okay, when I go and download it as a PDF, you are asked to provide the paper size, the orientation, portrait or landscape, and then you click on download, and it downloads those dashboards for you. Okay. While it's downloading, let me show you the list view as well. So from the list view, you can see now it's a different kind of UI, and what you see is I can like reconfigure or redesign some of the columns here, and then I have the opportunity to refresh the page, and that's one of the key differences. Like, here, you don't have the opportunity to refresh any of the dashboards, versus if you go into the list mode, that option is available. And from the actions perspective, it's very same. Like, you can download it as an image, or you can download it as a PDF. Okay, and then you've got the ability to filter the records if you've got too many dashboards over there. Okay, and obviously the number of widgets which are there. Now let me show you the dashboard that I exported. So yeah, this is the kind of dashboards that you get when you export it. Obviously, when you are sharing it with the executive team, you would basically give it a makeup and provide your logos and whatnot. Okay, and that is a task that the editor of the dashboard has to do. All right. Now let me get inside into one of the dashboards, and now here you can see you've got this dashboard, and on all of these individual tiles, they are known as widgets, and the top row here is basically a read-only information, and these are called as indicator widgets, versus this one here is much more interactive. Like, I can click on things and it changes the underlying data, and these are called interactive widgets. So yeah, that's that. So information, if you look at, then it will show you where where it is coming from. So the default naming convention for cube is your folder name and a folder name -cube, and yeah, obviously if the editor has provided any description, those descriptions will start to come in up here. Okay, from here you again have got the option to download the PDF and download image. You got the functionality to collapse the filter or expand the filter depending upon your need for the real estate. Okay, so by default, the creator of this dashboard has provided you a filter for the date, and you can toggle between today's date and not today's date. Okay, and let's just say you want to play around with the filters, and so what you can do is go onto any of the interactive widget and click on the interactive widget, and what would happen is a job state like this was created for job state, and that's why the filter comes in here. And then if you do want to clear it, you can clear that selection from the widget itself, or you can essentially go up here and click on everything and do that, or you can disable that as well. Okay, so these are all the options available for you to move between the dashboards. Then you are looking at top and insights, and then you've got the dashboard, and that's when you can move between the dashboards. However, it is important to mention here, as soon as you leave that page, what would happen is the filters that you have provided are now gone. Okay, so just remember, if you are a viewer and if you do move screens, or if your session gets logged out or you get logged out, then all the filters that you were working with, they are gone. Okay. Yeah. So that's about the that's about the viewer permission. Now, let me go ahead and actually show you the 4 out-of-the-box dashboards that this process comes with. So the first one is process here. Okay, so let me actually go into a different orchestrator because there's much better data in it. So while this is loading, Michael, can I take any questions if there are any?
Yeah, all the questions are answered, but there seemed to be like a common question about the database, whether it requires a separate database. Can it be on the same SQL server as Orchestrator, or should it be separated? Are there any best practices around that?
Yeah, great question. I think your SQL database, like the physical machine, can remain same, and on that SQL database machine, you'll have 2 databases in that database. Okay, so first for the Orchestrator SQL, and then the second one for Insight SQL. Okay. Please read the hardware and the software requirements for it, and that will basically tell you more information. One thing I think I forgot to mention was about the software requirements. So for software requirements, we support Windows Server 2016 and Windows Server 2019, so please do use that. And all the modern browsers, they are all supported. For web server, we recommend you to use IIS 7.5 plus, and the .NET framework requirement is for 4.7.2 plus. Okay. So thanks, Michael. That was a great question anyway. All right, okay. Let's just move on to the out-of-the-box dashboards up here. So the first widget that you see is the total number of cumulative processes that have been executed so far on this tenant, on this orchestrator. Okay, and then we have got the runtime, which displays the average duration and the single longest job duration in seconds. So two matrices, and then we have the success rate, which displays the percentage of job with successful status and the total numbers of completed job. Okay, so two matrices here, and then we get to the top 10 processes by run and the status, which displays each process by their name, split by the number and the status of all the jobs for that process, and it's a tree map, which is great for showing hierarchical data. Okay, so in this case, like dispatch queue item process, how many times. So if I just hover over it, it would show me like how many times it was successful, how many runs it had, and in the percentage terms as well. Similarly for faulted, I can see the similar kind of matrix coming out. Okay. Then moving on, we've got the top 10 processes with the faulted job, and it's a scatter plot. It displays the top 10 processes with the most faulted jobs. Okay, and then we've got the weekly runs, and it's a column chart or a bar chart, and it shows the number of execution per week for each of the robot. And then we get onto the error details, which is a tabular or a pivot table kind of structure, and it displays the process name, robot name, date, reason why it has failed, and the number of errors in the analysis. Okay, and then let's just quickly move on to the robots. And what robot shows you is essentially the utilization, and that's utilization for attended robots and the unattended robots. And then you have got another matrix for robot utilization and attended. As you can see that my total utilization for attended was 0, versus my robot utilization for attended is 0.42 here. So it's my mistake, and I owe up to it because I was playing with it and I included the development robot, which is the studio robots, into this graph, and hence the matrix is slightly off. Otherwise it should be like 0. And then we've got the robot utilization for unattended per day. And then we've got the robot types, like a pie chart, and it shows like how many number of unattended robots and how many number of whatever robots are there in that tenant. Okay, and then we get to the average utilization per day per robot, and this is for unattended robot. As you can see, there is a scale, and you can play with that scale to increase or decrease the window that you're looking at, and this window comes automatically when you build these kind of dashboards. Okay. So that feature is available, and then average utilization per day per robot for attended, and then top 10 robots with errors. So which robots are giving me errors? So almost 100% of my errors is coming from iBot, and then top 10 busiest robot by the name, and like the robots that spend most time executing each processes. And today's utilization breakdown, so because I don't have the any robots connected to it, and hence I have no data in it, it actually is a Gantt chart, and it shows you for each robot in previous 24 hours how they have worked and what's their utilization looked like. Okay, then moving on, we have got queues, and for queues, queues are easy. So like total number of cumulative completed items by putting all the queues put together, and then the total number of queues which are in the system, how many successful transactions and how many failed transactions and how many abandoned transactions. And then we've got a bar chart for transactions by date as to how many transactions I have performed. And again, you can filter it, you can add it, you can play with it. And then you have got like weekly exception breakdown, like application breakdown or the business exception breakdown, and then average transaction duration per queue. It displays the average handling time in seconds for each item per queue. So yeah, if over a period of time your time is getting increased, then you've got a problem, and then we need to look into it. And then obviously the exception, which is like robots, where the exceptions are coming from and what are those, and it helps you with any of the forensic. Lastly, we get onto the most important dashboard, which people would be looking at, and that's about the money saved. So that's the business ROI dashboard, and the first widget here is about money saved. But before I show you each of these, let me take you through to the process baseline. So whenever you create your own Insight instance and get to the business process ROI, then you do need to set the process baselines, and setting them is very easy. Like per process, you will say for per transaction how much of manual time effort is required and how much of the hourly cost I save as a result of it. And that's when all these dashboards will start to publish. Okay, so money saved is essentially it's a calculated calculation basis the baselines you have provided. Similarly, the time saved. Goals for the year. This is again a number that is manually put. Okay, and yeah, so you need to provide that. What's the goal for the RPA team for this year? Okay, and then productivity, which is the kind of how many robot hours are there that have been utilized. Hours saved per process, again, very easy to understand. Money saved per process, okay, which is a pie chart, and it shows you all of that information. And then cumulative time saved and the process baselines, like I've mentioned. Please do remember, you need to put the values for process baseline if you do want to see the data being populated, and this is where you need to come and put down those values. Obviously, it's not coming for some reasons, but whenever you do that, it would definitely come. Okay. Oh, maybe it's a permission issue for myself. All right. Now, so that's about the 4 out of the box dashboards which are available. And now let me show you some of the edit capabilities and whatnot. Okay. So once you're here, and if you do want to create your own dashboard, then you have the opportunity to click on plus button, and that would allow you to create your own dashboard. However, if you do want to copy and create from whatever has been already published, then you can click on edit, and that will basically take you to the edit screen. However, because this was somebody else's dashboard, my edits will ruin somebody else's work. So what I tend to do is I basically go up here and click on these 3 buttons and click on duplicate, and I work on my duplicate items. So, and in here I would just basically change the name, and I would say this is my transaction. Okay. Now, let's just look at how like if you want to add a widget, so add widget option is here, and as soon as you click on that, you get to the data input side, and as you can see on the data input side, you have data for jobs, you have data for processes, and similarly, if I just put in the value for Q, you will have the data for Q as well. Okay, so these are the places where the data gets ingested into the system. Okay, and you can use all these metrics. So this is something that this tool does out of the box for you. Like, you don't have to do anything extra if you want to include the CIQ1 into the data model. Okay, this tool will do that automatically for you. So the way it does that is every 15 minutes, it basically polls the orchestrator database and see for any changes, any extra changes that have come through. And if you've created any queue items, or if you have run your robots and those robots have created any logs, or if you have published any processes, then what it would do is it would basically include all of that data into the data model. Okay, so yeah, that's that. Now let me actually show some of the edit and show you what are the options that come to you. So on the left hand side, you can basically pick and choose what sort of chart type or visualization type you want to use, and then like any analytics software, you've got the dimensions and the measures, or the values and the secondary and any dimensions that you want to use, or any breakbys. Okay, within that, you would see basically the edit formula button, and that's where you get to the data browser and all the functions that this tool allows you. So like average, contribution, correlation, regression, count duplicates, all of those formulas are there. So if you're familiar with tools like Power BI or Tableau, then it would come very naturally to you, and you will be able to use those functions. Okay, if you click on any of the button, then you can actually any of the data variables, then you will have the opportunity to either rename it, delete it, or edit the filters. So like, you can put down the filters if for a process status, which is like successful, then it will only show you successful things, or failed or abandoned for that matter. You can put down text, or you can put down ranking like top 10, bottom 10, and whatnot, and then you can put down any start values as well. Okay, so yeah, those are the things that are available. Then you've got the widget filters available as well, and you can basically click on any of the fields and filter by that. Okay, so that's that. And yeah, for you to be like, you can't just go in and put down any filters just like that, and that's why we've got the data model documentation page, and that will explain how all of this data is put together. And before you go on and build something, I highly recommend you to do. So yeah, you can rename it, you can change any data source, but in this case, we don't change anything. And then you have got like what's the last modified date of this, and if you want to include any more widgets, if you want to add any text to this, so you have like what you see and what you get editor, and you can put down your own text and move that text across. Then you have got the opportunity to tell how the PDF should look like, and you can configure that as well, like for paper sizes, for orientation, what sort of headers need to be included, and what sort of size they should look like, and if you do want to include the page numbers. And if you, so this is the view mode. If you come to the edit mode, then you also have the opportunity to just play around with the real estate and see how the user experience look like and move the widgets along. Okay, so pretty cool features from the PDF or creating the image perspective. Now, I also have got like share button, so you can only share. You can only see this button for the dashboards that are being created by you, and hence. And yeah, hence please be cautious. If you don't see it for the out-of-the-box dashboards which are present, then you won't be able to see the share button. Okay, and this will take you back to the view mode, and within that dashboard, you obviously I've showed you like you from the left-hand side. I've already showed you this menu, and you've got export, you've got duplicate, which we have already used. We've got download and download as PDF and download as image. I've got like columns, and then I have also got like delete dashboard. So delete functionality would only come if you are the admin or if you're the creator of that dashboard. Otherwise, it will not come to you. Having said that, so for a dashboard, I can export it as a PDF or an image, but for one of the for one of the widgets, I also have the opportunity to download the CSV file. So if you're interested in the raw data, most of the time CSV files would be available, and you can do that. Let's just have a look into it and see what download. Yeah, so CSV file would always be present to you. Okay. Now moving on. Moving on to the alerts and those kind of features. So let's just say I have a requirement where I basically want to where I basically want to get notified if special events have happened. Okay, to do that, there is a feature called Pulse. So you can create those notifications using Pulse. So all you have to do is just add it to Pulse, and you can give that Pulse a name. And then you have got three alert conditions. So it could be a threshold, like if the number of queues are greater than 50, then just give me some sort of notification. Or it could be automatic, which is the statistical models, and it essentially is a machine learning model, so it learns basis your behavior. But initially, it essentially looks for any data which is beyond the 2 standard deviation of whatever metrics you are measuring. So if your values fall beyond 2 standard deviation, then it would start to give you the automatic alerts. And then always is essentially like every 15 minutes when the queue gets created, it will basically start to give you this notification. Please be mindful of using always as the option, because then after some point in time, it may become annoying for you to do, because you'll be getting so many emails or so many Slack messages that you don't want to listen. Yeah. So let's just get on to the threshold and click on advanced. So with advanced, what would happen is, again, the same sort of scenario, and then you have got the for like what are the people who are going to receive that kind of notification, and then the notification options in itself. So right now it sends by default an email, but you can configure Slack, or you can configure Zapier, or you can add any custom webhooks as well. So if you're using Microsoft Teams, you can add a webhooks for Microsoft Teams, and it will give you all those options. Okay. So, and then like the additional information, and if you do want to include any messages. Okay. So all of those features are available via the Pulse feature. Okay. And whatever pulses are related to a dashboard, you can actually go to the Pulse section and have a look at that. Okay. Let me go and see if I missed any of the feature, and yeah, I'll show you that. Michael, while I do that, are there any questions that we can have a look?
Yes, I guess a couple of questions. I mean, the panelists have answered most of them, but some that I'll highlight. The customization of graphs in terms of like fonts, colors, and themes. Is it easy to change it from the
Yeah.
dashboards?
Yeah, absolutely. So for colors, you've got this color palette here. This is for the dashboard, obviously, and you've got all these color palettes, and we've got color palettes for colorblind people as well. So yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. Like I said, if you've used Power BI or Microsoft Power BI or Tableau, you will find yourself at home when using this kind of product. So all of those features and functionalities are available.
Okay, thanks. And what about if you want to create your own graph that's related to a specific process? For example, you want to pull out the value of a PO. Is that easy to set up?
Yes, yeah, good point. I was going to go there anyways. So you will click on plus, and that will give you the widget. And then from there onwards, you would essentially be looking at at all the data structures which are available, and then you can actually filter it down by process, and you can see I'm seeing the process that was published here, and within that process I would also see any raw messages, which is the additional logs that have come through. So yeah, so you can basically, if you're using this kind of table to get to the insights, then it will only show you the data from add additional log field every hour for Chris data in your dashboards. Similarly, for queues, you will have the option to get onto the queue. So process hyphen anything is your process. Queue hyphen anything is the queues that you have created. Robot hyphen anything is the robots logs. Okay, so like CI queue here, and then I've got all the data. So as you know, that queue stores data in raw messages, output, and analytics pane. So all you can see all the outputs here. Let me see if there's any raw messages here as well. Yeah, probably not in this one, but yeah, like in this QC, there's an analytics data. So those data, even though they are going via the robot as a JSON file or anything else, when it comes here, that data model is available to you for you to be readily consume that kind of data. Okay, so that's not a problem. So similarly for robot as well, let me see where the robot data is. Yeah, so like robot logs. Probably I don't have proper access, but yeah, so robot hyphen is also available for you to get to any kind of robot logs and the messages. Okay, and if you do want to ingest your own thing, then let me cut over to the studio. Then what you can do is, so I've got this Excel field and Excel file, and all it has is few data points. And if I just call add log fields and show you the fields like I had in that Excel file, cash, credit, debit, and discount, then all of these cash, credit, debit, and discounts would be available as a raw message when I want to create a dashboard using this kind of data. Okay. Similarly, for queue, there are two places you can do that. So add queue item will add the item information, and this is where this data will be available in the queues table of that particular data structure. And also we have got set transaction status. So for set transaction status, you've got analytics and output. So whatever you will put in the analytics and output data collection would be available as part of the queue. So that's how you ingest data into that's how you would ingest the data into the insights. And as part of my presentation today, when you do receive this presentation, I will also give you a YouTube playlist, and one of the videos on that YouTube playlist actually goes into details as to how you can add those logs and queues data fields into the insights. So please do watch that. Okay, so we have looked at folder, and now if you do want to, just one more thing on this one, if you do want to add, like, there could be multiple dashboards that are there, and that becomes harder for you to manage. So what you can do is click on the plus button here, and you can click on the dashboard, and you can create like a folder structure for yourself and put the dashboards in your, so that manageability is there. Okay. Similarly, you can export a dashboard as well. So what happens is it creates a .dash file. So the reason it's important is because, let's just say you've got a non-prod environment for insights where you test all your dashboard first, then you can export that dash and then come in here and basically import that dashboard. So that schema gets copied and yeah, your data becomes available. So or let's just say there is a dashboard which is created in other tenant but is useful in your tenant as well. So that's where you can import and export the dashboards as well. Okay. So yeah, so that's that. For sharing the dashboard, you can essentially come to, so you can only share the dashboards which are being created by you. So you need to just click on that share button and put down the email IDs, and then you will be able to share that dashboard with other people. And yeah, and then certain other functionalities and features are also there. And then any schedule reports that needs to go out, you can basically come in here and schedule that as well for yourself. So yeah, that's.
Smith, there was a question that just came in about, can you show more details of the runtime widget? Does it display the execution duration of each workflow that is part of a single process?
As in this runtime widget here?
Yeah, I think it's more about the timing information.
Yeah, sure. So all you have to do is, if you don't understand anything, just come in here, and you will have, like, every table will have some sort of timestamp information or runtime in second. So let me put down some time up here. So time execution in minutes, execution in hours. So that's available as the formula. But for jobs, you have got these many time fields. For individual process, you have got the timestamp, and even for the queues as well. So queues and robot logs, all of that is, so like queue creation time, snapshot time. So yeah, all of that information is available, and you can essentially use it. Okay, and that is something that comes by default. So let me actually get into the data model so that this thing becomes Is anyways going to go there?
Yeah, also, Smith, just a time check. There's probably 12 more minutes left.
Yeah, yep, sure. So yeah, so for job, any job that gets run on a process, it generates ID, tenant ID, robot type, host machine. So creation time, start time, end time. So that should give you an answer, and like runtime in seconds. So a calculated field is also available, and then any job key, which is the unique ID. For queue items, you get the analytics, you've got the processing status, you've got the review status, robot name, robot type, and transaction duration in second, like due date, deferred rate, retry number, specific data, and analytics data, okay? So all of that is available. And for robot logs, you've got ID, process name, robot name, and the timestamp up here. So yeah, please go through that.
Yeah, just a quick word on the analytics data item. So the analytics data item has been specifically created to ensure that from your queue data, from the queue items data that you are populating for processing the queue, if you want only certain information to be ingested into analytics insights and keep your data ingestion pipeline lightweight. So this is when the analytics data comes into picture, and this has been created specifically to ensure that your process executions are more tightly integrated to what you want to see on insights. So that is a very key component that that you might want to keep a track of.
Yeah, thank you, Sajal, for that.
Sure.
And that brings us to the last topic, which is the pricing model for the insights. So yeah, I know there was a question at the very beginning as to how this is licensed and how this is priced. So there is a variable pricing model. So you have got like the base insight product itself and what it gives you, the insight feature itself, okay? And insights is available for an orchestrator, and then you can enable or disable individual tenants. Okay, so this is not tenant level, this is orchestrator level. You need to buy that base package, and that will include a few things like non-production robot and 5 unattended robot. On top of that, you need to purchase the per robot licensing as well. Okay, so like for any extra unattended robot, you need to buy that license. And similarly for attended multi-user and attended named user, you need to buy that separately. Please remember, non-production robots, they come for free. Development robots, which is Cheerio, they come for free. Okay. If you are interested in the exact number as to how much is the foundation package and per price robot is, then please go to the partner portal and there's a price list, and from there you can get to the price of it. Okay. And if you're more interested in it, then please give us an email or give us any notification, and then we will be happy to share a price calculator model for insights. Okay, and where you can just plug in your numbers and it gives you the final number. However, please come via your partner managers, and partner managers would be your best friend in telling you the prices for this. Okay. However, from the model perspective, there's a base price, which is foundation, and then there's a per robot pricing. Okay. And
sorry, Smith, hello, Smith. Just a clarification on that. I think they want to understand what it means by per robot. Is it all the robots they have in Orchestrator, or is it like a subset?
Yeah, it's like a subset. Now, so let's just say you have got 10 robots and you have bought the Insights Foundation, okay? And for that, you will get the first 5 unattended robot that will send the data over to the Insights, and any extra license that you purchase, you would have to enable the insights for that, and that's when that robot will start to ingest that data into the insights folder. What I would do is I would also include, whenever we will send an FAQ documentation, I will include extra information regarding that as to how that works, and explain it a bit further.
Okay, thanks.
So with that, thank you, everybody, and let's just get on to the Q&A mode. We've got like 7 minutes to go through that.
Yeah, hey, partner, if you feel like wanting to ask a question interactively, please click the raise your hand button. We can actually unmute you. Otherwise, yeah, you can actually enter your questions in the Q&A as well.
Yes. So Sajal, I know you're on the call. If you do want to add anything, or because I know you came from the product management team, which managed the insights piece when it was built initially. So if you could just throw some more light onto what this product is, and if anything I've missed.
I know, Smita, you did a great job in covering all the features, and I think you have covered the product in great detail. So as you mentioned, in your introduction also, one of the key differentiating factors that Insight brings on the plate is, one, it marries the operational point of view with the business point of view. Second, Insight is totally in line with the underlying UiPath, the enterprise suite, the entire end-to-end ecosystem architecture of it. So it is more compliant to any architectural changes and data architecture or communication architecture changes that happens at the enterprise level. So Insights would always be compliant with that, and that is a huge differentiating factor, because most of the third-party solutions would be inherently dependent on the data architecture and the communication architecture, and any changes would entail a redesign. But Insights, kind of encapsulates that. So that's a huge huge positive that Insight provides. And not only that, the integrated flavor of Insight, which which allows you to view your in a single command center point of view. It allows you to not only manage your RP orchestration, but also it basically provides an add-on to the real-time monitoring, taking that point of view and extrapolating it over and beyond 24 hours. So that is a very close integration that it provides with the RP orchestration. One thing that we need to be, as I expressed before also, the adoption of Insights, one needs to keep in mind that what are the mission critical components and what are not. So analytics would always be heavy on compute, because we are providing a lot of features, forecasting, machine learning, and that these are key differentiating factors for our platform. So we need to keep that in mind and be be open-hearted in understanding what the platform provides and the value proposition it provides forward.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you for that. And that reminds, I did promise people that I would show you the forecasting model and as to how it works, but due to the lack of minutes that I have here, what I would do is I would put down in the FAQ documentation as well, and show you a proper chart as to how you can build it and how not. So I'll take it as an action item. One key common question, everybody, that we get is, can we ingest external data, like any data which is external to the robots or to the orchestrator into this platform? So the answer to that is not at the moment. Like, you cannot have an external Excel file that ingests data in it. Okay, but the product and the engineering team, they are constantly working to overcome that challenge, and probably sometime in near future you will start to see much more work around it. Okay. Having said that, this is 23rd of April, and the new release, which is 2020.04, is about to come in. And one new feature that you would see in from the insights perspective is that you will see a new dashboard from the licensing angle. So that's most of the customers and partners, they've asked us, can we include licensing information in the analytics? So yes, that feature will definitely be there in 2020.4. And yeah, and what else I can add? Can you, so other is, can you customize the dashboard? So absolutely yes. If you don't like what out of the box comes to you, then you're more than welcome to actually change everything. And in fact, one of the true usage of insights is only when your own data analysts or BI team actually starts to work on it and create your own custom dashboard, because every team is different, every data is different, and every insight implementation is different. So yeah, keep that in mind. With that, I will stop, and I would want to thank you everyone for listening to us patiently, and yeah, we will answer more questions in our FAQ documentation, so stay tuned for that. Over to you, Alex. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Smith, and also thanks all the participants for giving your full attention over the last 1.5 hours. So I've just pushed up the poll quickly for you to vote before you all leave. But anyone who wants to stay behind, we are going to move into the next slot on the document understanding and previewing, or rather reviewing the homework exercise that I've shared with all of you. So you've got a chance to try that out, and you want to stay back and have Mike going through that, please do so. Otherwise, you may leave this session today. And again, thanks everyone for joining, and do remember to sign up if you haven't for the next few weeks session. Okay, I also have before I forget, right? I also put a message in the chat that if you are keen to actually set up the Insights server in your environment and you need support, to reach out to me and also Smith and Mike or your partner managers, and we'll try to help you with that. Okay, again, thanks everyone. And so I just gonna invite the Mike for you to kind of share your screen and then walk through the exercise that you have shared with the team last week.
Thanks, Alex. Give me a second. Just let me know when you can see the screen.
Yep,
Yeah,
sure can.
Okay, so yeah, so it's Michael Kure here, and we ran the document understanding webinar last week. And at the end of the slide deck, there was really, I guess, what we call homework, step-by-step instructions on how to create your own document understanding workflow. So we just wanted to have a bit of time now to see if there were any questions or any problems that you may have encountered while trying to build your own workflow. I'll quickly run through the main aspects of it, and then it's really a bit of an open question time where if you had an issue that you weren't able to resolve, then yeah, we're quite happy to take that question and help you answer it. So The workflow I got you to build was quite simple and basic. So if you started your own UiPath studio, created a new project, you basically had to add in new packages. So the document understanding ML activities, the intelligent OCR, OmniPage, and I think also the attended robot status, just to put those call outs so you know where the automation is, where you are in terms of which step of the automation you're in. And the other things I got you to do was really to add these JSON files. So one was taxonomy.json, one was keywordlearning.json, and there were 2 invoices as well that we got you to download. So once you copied all that in, you basically had to create, well, you had your main.xaml, and you'd have to create another XAML file for document processing. I'll quickly run through the main. So the main was, putting a call out, loading that taxonomy file that you would have downloaded. Then we wanted you to get all the files from the documents directory, which is really those invoices. Do another call out, and then for each of those files, we wanted you to basically call the document processing XAML file. So if I go to document processing XAML file, what this file contained was really the, taking those documents and digitizing it. So running it through an OCR engine and getting the DOM and the DOM text, document text. Doing another call out, then we wanted you to do the classified document using the keyword based classifier, which made use of that keywordlearning.json file. Then we had.
Sorry, Mike. Sorry to interrupt. Are you going through kind of the 12 activities right now, one by one, or you just kind of give an overview right now?
No, this is an overview. I'm not. Because the homework actually had the detailed steps. And did you want me to go through that, or?
I don't know if you have time to do that.
No, I mean that would take it would probably take 1 to 2 hours to build. So what I was hoping was for them to try and build it, and if they had any issues, if they got it to work, that's great. If there were any issues, then please let us know. So I was just kind of running through. This is what it should look like, and then if there was any questions, we can take it and use this as the reference to answer any questions.
Okay, good. Thanks.
So we went to classified document. The if statement was just to put a call out to say what kind of document it was. And if we could classify the document, then we wanted to do a data extraction. And this is probably the key part of it, where we really are connecting to an API endpoint. And at the start of the instructions that we sent out, we told you where to get this API key, which is really from the community orchestrator under the licenses and other services area. The endpoint would have been the invoices endpoint, because we were processing an invoice in this particular workflow. And so we extract the data from the invoice. We always go to validation station, and the reason for that is just to demonstrate that capability. We do another call out. We retrain if validation station picked up any new keywords, and then exported the extraction results. So that was the workflow. I do see some questions. Okay, hang on, I'm just gonna have a look. Will this discussion about the homework at previous session also be recorded? Yeah, so the homework is really, I'll answer the first question from Joshua. So regarding the homework, it was really a slide deck at the end of the webinar slide deck that we presented last week. And it was step-by-step instructions on how to build this particular workflow. So maybe Alex, if you can send Joshua, Yosef that link to document understanding webinar and download link, then you'll be able to follow it.
Yeah,
So,
Joshua, just send me an email. I'll follow up with you and send you the recording if you haven't got it.
okay. I got a question on the regex extractor. I don't know if Mohit's on the call, if you can probably talk to that, as he's probably got a bit more.
Yeah, yes, Michael.
Yeah. So the question is, it's gone now, but yeah, there was a question about the regex extractor. If you could explain it a bit in detail.
Yeah, I just put a link for that question on the answer for the regex extractor.
Okay.
Now, something that I did highlight in there was that when you're trying to use the regex extractor, most of the times I use the regex extractor if I'm trying to find pieces of data or strings of data that have like a consistent pattern, like an ABN out of an invoice, or something that we know we're always going to follow the same pattern. Now, not to say that we couldn't use regex for more complex things, but I usually try to use the form-based extractor if we're trying to extract like lots of different fields, and if it's only like individual pieces of data that, you know, consistent patterns, then that's when I usually resort to the regex. And I'm not sure if people on the call have seen this before. Within the studio, we've got a regex builder as well, so you can actually use the regex builder to assist with putting a regex piece of code together as well.
Okay.
Michael, there's another question tied to that same question. It's about the attended robot activity. So you can actually go ahead and download that from the Go component. So that's where you'll find it. So it's not available in your official feed. So you'll need to enable your Go feed, and then you can just download the package for that.
Okay. Thanks, Mohit. Another question, which was about the, do we need to create separate taxonomy files for different invoices? So the answer to that is no. So you'd have one taxonomy file which defines what the document looks like and what are the key fields of the documents and what are the subcategories. And then you can send, with the machine learning extractor, you can send any invoice, and based on the fields that the machine learning extractor for invoices returns, then you can make use of those fields. But you don't need to create a new taxonomy. Basically, taxonomy should be very rarely updated, I guess, once you know which documents you want to, or how the documents are actually defined. An API key unauthorized. So there's a question. So with the API key, there was instructions right at the start. Let's see if I can bring up that slide deck. But basically, if you go to your community account, once you log in, under the licenses, there'll be a section, I think other services, and then you can get the API key for document understanding. If it doesn't work, then you can try to refresh the API key. I think there's a button to refresh it. And if you refresh it, then please try it and let us know how you go. Did I miss any questions, or does anyone want to add anything to any of the questions?
So Michael, there's a question if we will be sharing this homework code. So
yeah, we can share the code. I mean, it's pretty basic. Yeah. I think we shared. So there was two demos last week. So one was this demo using machine learning extractors, and there was another demo using the form extractor. So we gave that project, and what I can do is I can also put this one up as well. And all you'll have to do is change the API key, and yeah, you can make use of it. So yeah, we'll put this up after the call.
Sure. Thank you.
Is there any other questions or anything
No,
else you guys
no more
wanted to add?
questions.
There's one just come in.
So this question is, if I'd like to learn more regarding the other extractors, where can I learn about this other than the official docs?
Okay, so I think that means maybe like the form extractor and the intelligent form extractor. Because it's not GA, I don't know if it's on the official docs site yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, apart from official docs, Daniel or Mohit, is there any other resource?
Yeah, so for the same purpose, we do have internal trainings, and I believe that we'll make that available for the partners also after the GA. So that would be another point of reference for them.
Okay, yeah, that's good. So that's you're talking about the academy partner.
Yep, the brain
yeah.
check. Yep, the brain check courses that
Okay.
we have internally. So I believe that we'll make that available for the partners as well to learn and refer to those.
Okay, good. Yep, thanks. So really the answer is we'll have more, I guess, online training content for partners in addition to the official documents that's available on the website. And any other questions or feedback?
No more questions so far.
Was it easy to follow? Was it easy to build or?
Yeah, I guess I'd like to know if anyone online here that has managed to complete the exercises. Anyway, I have also gotten some requests from a few partners who couldn't manage to download it on time, and you all know that I did set an expiry date for the very reason that I would encourage you all to be able to complete the exercise before the review today. However, understand the difficulty there, so I have already extended the deadline by another week. So if you or your colleague are not able to download it before, please retry that. Okay, and we definitely encourage you to do the exercises. I think document understanding is clearly one of the highly demanded requests from customers. I think this is definitely a good opportunity for you all to propose. Okay. Okay, we got one new question coming.
Can we expect this as a framework in future? I'm not sure what that means. Maybe like the RE framework template. Is that okay?
It's actually a framework right now, Michael.
Sorry.
It's actually a framework itself right now. So it's sort of it already gives you a structure, and so
Yeah.
we call it as a framework itself.
I think the question is, you know how you can go and start a RE framework template, so it has all the predefined activities already there. I think the question is, could you just start a document understanding framework template, and it's got digitized document, extract, classify, etc. I haven't heard about it, but that's a good question. Maybe I can follow up.
Yeah, we need to. I was looking for the answer while you guys were talking. I haven't found that information. If it's going to be like its own separate framework when you start a new project, we're going to have to take that offline and double check.
Yeah, but that's a good question. Thanks, Amit.
A very good question. Yes.
There's a question on the language support.
Yeah, so that was one of, I think in the frequently asked questions I had in the slide deck. So Chinese wasn't there. It was English and some other European languages, Russian, Romanian, I think French maybe. Chinese support, I don't know when. I don't know, Kamyong, or if you've heard anything about support for Chinese language.
No, no, I don't think there's a firm timeline yet, although it has been requested by some other customers also.
Okay, thanks. Second workflow you shared. Okay, Mohit, I don't know if you can answer this one. This is regarding the intelligent form extractor workflow that you had. They're asking about the zones. So you know how you can select the area and associate it to a field. Are you able to quickly share your screen and show that?
Let me just try and open my studio. Just give me a second.
Okay. Yep. So yeah, give us a minute. We'll try and show you how that's done on the form intelligent form extractor. Just stop sharing as well.
Maybe while waiting, I just want to revisit that questions asked about the Chinese language support. Because in China, we do work with Abby quite a bit. So maybe on behalf of the partners, I can ask this question about our position of partnership with Abby, if anyone on the panel is able to answer that. Anyone?
I'm just looking up because I remember I answered this question in the last web, and I'm just looking for the list of languages that we currently support, and I'm looking for what we've got on the roadmap. It'll be like a minute before I get it.
Okay, sure.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
For the specifically about the machine learning models, right? And let's say for the invoices and receipts, I'm just found from one of our team leads in Seattle. We're going to have experimental support for Chinese by the end of the year. This is for the machine learning extractors for receipts and invoices. So experimental support for Chinese by the end of the year. But again, it's going to be experimental to start with.
Okay. Thanks, Daniel.
Okay.
Can I take it forward now?
Yes, Mohit. Yes, please go on.
Okay, so there were two questions. So let me just show the answer to the previous question as well. So I think Daniel had already answered that, and I'll just take it in brief. So the first thing was about the regex extractor, right? So if you have a regex extractor, like if you have something like this, you can just have it here in parallel. When you do your manage configure extractors, so here you can actually choose that which all fields you would want to extract from which extractor, right? So if, for example, your USI number, you wanted to extract that with a regex extractor, you can take it over here and then you can remove it from intelligent form extractor. So it can be done for specific fields also, right? So that is while configuring your extractors. And now moving on, let me just delete this. And when you say manage templates in your intelligent form extractor, you just go to your student onboarding form. So this is nothing but what I have defined in my taxonomy. And I will say edit from here. And once I do that, I will have my template manager opened up. It will give you a small pop-up of how you can extract these fields. And it also gives you a little bit of information about if your document is multiple pages, how do you cater to that situation? So to make it very brief, for example, if I wanted to extract this field, I could just go ahead and choose it from here, the custom extraction, and then I just showcase it over here, that this is the area from where I want to extract it, and then just change the extraction, and that's pretty much it. So it's that simple. And then just save it, and next time it will try to extract the information out of this field. Does that answer the question?
Hi, Mohit. Yeah, for me, it was quite clear. So hopefully, I don't know who asked it because it was anonymous, but yeah, hopefully that answers. If not, just let us know.
Yep. So you can just let us know on the chat, and Mike, if you want to take some other answers, other questions in between, maybe you can do that while we are waiting for him to confirm. Or do
Yeah.
you want me to just stop sharing?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He said yes. Thank you. So that it has
Okay.
answered the question. So that's good.
Perfect. I'll just stop sharing then.
And yep. So there's no more questions. Maybe give it another minute, Alex, and maybe close it off. If there are no other questions.
Yeah, sure. Let us know if you all have any more question. Otherwise, yeah, we can give you 5 minutes back of your time.
Oh, okay. There's a good one. How do you get the table from the gender field in the form? Mohit, I don't know if you can share your screen again.
Yep. So in this one, it says that how to get the label from gender field from the form. So when we are
label. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So when you're extracting the information out of the intelligent form extractor, so we assume that you already know the labels of the field, and generally when you are working with the form, it's sort of like label driven in itself. So but if you want to like extract, so what you were seeing on screen where I had defined gender, that is actually the field that I have defined, that okay, I'm extracting gender from this location, right? So this is what that means. And if you want to extract the label itself, then it's anyway going to be possible with normal OCR as well. But if need be, then you can just show it that area that extract the information out of there. So it's possible. But the idea behind intelligent form extractor is that you already know the area where you want to extract the field from, and then you just show where you want to extract the information.
Thanks, Mohit.
Sure. So if you could just please confirm if that's what you were looking for, or is there a follow-up question?
I think I think that should be fine, Mohit.
Sure.
Okay, I don't think there's any more questions, Alex.
Okay, that's great. I guess it's lunchtime for some of us, so maybe if, people are hungry. So let's close it off. And again, I want to appreciate every one of you that has joined this session. All right, thanks panelists as well. All right, so have a good day, and we'll see you again next Thursday. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.